Okay, thank you, Marcus. First of all, I would like to thank FlexSim for this opportunity to share our cases, and hopefully we will learn from each other from today's event. So let me go ahead get started to share the presentation. And if you cannot see it, please let me know. Okay. So what we want to go through today is a brief overview of what EP Group is. It will be quite interesting to see how we started and using the FlexSim tool. And then we talk about the brand strategy. We actually supporting, we are the T1 company for Adidas and actually other many brands, but my EP Group primarily focus on Adidas product. And we talk about what is the brand strategy in terms of driving digitalization and why we use FlexSim as a tool to help us to be more competitive in terms of lean manufacturing and to give us a competitive advantage. In terms of development and framework, part is our digital strategy in terms of how we set it up. And then we will have Leo to briefly share about our cases. And after that, a summary in terms of what we gain from that cases, and then we'll very happy to answer any question that you might have. Okay. So with that said, I think Marcus already talked to briefly about who we are, but just additional information. Actually, I got a U.S. Texas CPA accounting background, working in the banking, telecommunication, and spent the past about 20+ years in manufacturing, from high-tech manufacturing for Gorilla Glass. For Corning, I was the Corning as a company. I was the CEO for after their 170 years, the first Asian CEO for one of the key divisions. Later on, I moved on to getting into the traditional business, shoemaking. Right? Why we do that? Because at that time, they realized in the shoe industry, they realized that how powerful the digital is to transform their business in terms of the manpower. They're getting people that are harder to get the qualified labor to do their work, and how we leverage digital to support the manufacturing as well as give a young brother that want to come into the shoe business, right? So at that time, 11 T1 company for Adidas. Out of those, more than half of them went into a high-tech company looking for their CIO. So I was one of them, got hired by EP Group at that time. After that, it has been a journey. So I started with IT, and now with manufacturing excellence, quality, HR, costing and planning, and you can name it, but I'm really having fun. Leo Zhang is our deputy manager. A lot of experience in the shoe industry in terms of lean production, also a teacher for our group as well, to share lean business. And then with that background, it's really how we be able to use tool like FlexSim to really help business to drive that. It's not only knowing the tool, but also knowing the business, and the combination of that is a very powerful teams to support the business. So that's a little bit background for us. What is EP, right? So the EP Group, we primarily manufacturing for Adidas shoes in the category of football, original, where you see the easy, the really high-end, very expensive shoes, and golf. We are the only Adidas T1 that manufacture high-end golf shoes. So all this tour player, if you can see, most of actually all the shoes are manufactured by us, and then outdoor category as well. And another major one, we have also soccer. Now we recently get into the sandal for Adidas. And so with that said, a bigger group for us is actually a Yongjin Group, and Yongjin Group will cover Nike, as you can see over there, Fila, Li-Ning, Columbus, Kraus, Callaway. Just probably you can hear about all the sports shoes that we as a bigger group that will cover those. For EP, we focus on Adidas. Currently, we have presence throughout Southeast Asia. The headquarters are say in China and Taiwan, and that's where we built leverage Xingwei as our key partner to support our project. Later on we will share. And so overall, we are manufacturing currently about 72 million pair per year as a group for Adidas, and employ about 30,000, and revenue running roughly about $2 billion. So the brand strategy, this is what you can see as traditional business. Give you a context for this. When you go in, you see the manufacturing goods, raw material comes in, and after that, when they pick it up, run into a shop floor, you don't see that anymore. And then next thing you know, the shoes came out, right? That's the traditional way of managing it. Everybody is coding out, all the stuff are manual, and the decision, you have a lot of, the profession, which is really all master in the company that teach you how the shoes should look like. And if you have a slight defect shoes, they say, oh, this is how you fix it. So a lot of stuff is based on what in their brand versus what is in the system, or how you can teach the people the right way to do it. So a lot of coachee type of relationship within the company to be able to carry on the knowledge, and that is not sustainable. So along with that, also a long development cycle, and also the cost is high because every time you have to get a real product, make it happen. In terms of manufacturing, you have to really try to move all these machines and then see if it runs smoothly the way that you are predicting based on everybody's experience. So normally in those type of company, who speak the loudest get the most power, right? But that's not the most efficient way to do it. That's not how we be able to be comparative. We be able to be sustainable moving forward. So that's why we need to change those. And normally two ways we change those is looking into digitalization, digitalizing those knowledges, how we apply lean, and how we automate the manufacturing shop floor. So that's where the brain came up. Instead of put a lot of automations, a lot of focus is on digital end-to-end, and be able to real-time capture the data, help analytically, most importantly, how we simulate to see what is really processes. And that's why we apply to FlexSim to help us apply to that. As you can see, the bottom, we have the Adidas standard cell, which means from cut to box, cutting the material to finish the shoes and put into the box. That's called cut to box, C2B process. Cut to box process, and how you put into a manufacturing cell to make sure that it's most lean and you have the data to prove it. Otherwise, it's a lot of based on experience. Oh, I see this layout is the best. I see how these people arrange is the best. Instead of really looking from a data perspective, you doing the simulation to really help you to make that better decision. And that's where we look into tools. Adidas and Nike are using the different approaches in this area. And Adidas pretty much is sharing with us a few tools, and because my after electronic background, we use simulation tool a lot, and to help us making sure that we using the most efficient way and faster way to make our decisions. So through that, FlexSim is a tool that we select because of the flexibility and the area that be able to cover a lot of simulation that currently we are looking for. And also we identify a vendor out of Taiwan, Xingwei, because they did another shoe industry before. So with that experience is really able to help us. So FlexSim is a tool that we use. Start with a basic training, and then later on, the case that we did this year is more advanced. And from ideas perspective, I would say we probably is the group that moving the furthest along with the FlexSim tools. Okay. So this is what our current plan for digitalization in 4 categories. One, I would say using the automation mode. Automation is whatever we can do to automate the process. However, for shoemaking, it's really hard to do. I think Nike had tried with the high-tech company FlexSim before. It didn't work out, and we'll continue trying those. But this is what we'll continue to try. But this is not the only way that we do to advance our shoemaking industry into a digital future. Digital enablement is the one that we really look into to see how we digitalize everything. Be able to digitalize it, how when we have manufacturing process, for example, cutting, stitching, that we'll be able to having the data digitalized, have the machine tell us where the status is and how the output, the throughput is, and the quality of that process and the quality of the product. So we want to digitalize all this stuff and digitalize the knowledge, so we'll be able to really apply that and carry on for the future. As the business still growing as of today. For lean operation, look into how we lean our manufacturing processes based on the data we collected, how we simulate those, and that's for the simulation and also stuff that we come to use for. Innovation, that's the part, it's part of digitalization, but it's not covering today's topic, so I won't cover in that detail. It's more of a 3D simulation for the product and how we capture the market, and idea did let us to lead in that process, and we are currently the #1 for ideas in terms of digital creation partnerships. Furthermore, talk about what is our digital processes. Standardization is the key. Through standardizations, we set up a KPI and how we apply in the other than the traditional ERP, MRP type of the MES type of the digitalization process that we apply. We also rolled it out 2 key areas that we believe this is how give us a competitive advantage. First of all, is IE standard systems. That's where, because a lot of our process actually depend on people and how we through video streaming, how we through the standard IE data collections, we'll be able to set up the standard for the whole group. So at least we know that when these shoes move on one location to another location, the standard is set there and there's evidence to it. And then based on that, we can help us how we train people, how we set up the layout. So the IE system is really critical. That's the data perspective. Simulations, FlexSim really help us in terms of getting a line balance, in terms of base layout, and we simulate how we do it, and be able to also work with the brand and say, okay, the brand they are not in charge of manufacturing, but people will come and say, oh, you probably lay out this way is best. Through FlexSim, we will to tell them what is the best way or optimize the layout that they should adopt, right? So the methodology is going through the material, the processes, the people, skill sets, and then also be able to simulate to a way that help us make better decisions. So with that framework, the iterations side of it is really help us through the digitalization that we'll be able to capture the data, give us a transparency, the predictivity that we're looking for, end to end, and the simulation really give us a competitive advantage in terms of we don't need to spend time or days to relay our stuff, try it out, didn't work. We'll be able to simulate it in a way that we did the right thing the first time, right? So right the first time is the one I think we did have that by using this tool give us really good competitive advantage. Other than that, there's another part that we did with the FlexSim is really set it out. So from product development all the way to the end, we'll be able to predict and simulate the lead times. And do that exercise, what we found out after 1 year is that people, when they see it, when we be able to simulate it, they made it happen. So you have to see it, then you believe it. Right? Instead of before, we would talk about the based on experience. Now I have the data to show them that this is doable. This is how we'll make it happen. So with that said, I'm going to hand over to Leo to share with us the project and what he learned from it, and also what's the outcome of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Hello, everyone. I'm Leo from EP Group. This project covers several factories of our EP Group. The goal of this project is to do advanced training to our subject matter experts, and the method is called train through cases. Sorry. Oh. Which involved three major shoemaking processes: cutting, stitching, and assembly. To train our subject matter experts through this project, first, we had internal training on 3D model building. The basic data which needed to build the model was also collected through preparation and discussion. For example, the production line layout, data, production operation process, WIP setting, material flow, and so on. After SimWeb engineers did the modeling in advance and set up the dashboard, they arranged 3 days of modeling training. The whole process of modeling operation, parameter setting, material flow, and other knowledge were taught to us through video conference. After learning, we also did after-class exercises to make sure we really understand the basic operation method. SimWeb also helped us solve the problem we found in practice through 2 after-course supports. After the training, we used FlexSim to build simulation for 5 main shoe models. Based on the whole operation process, we also established our own SOP for production line modeling and simulation. So, as to facilitate the training of new users and the accumulation of software operational knowledge. So far, we have trained more than 10 talents who are able to build 3D models of various equipment and buildings independently, and can use FlexSim for dynamic simulation of production line. These 2 videos were production line simulation model created by factories in China and Vietnam. We can see that our users are already able to use FlexSim software to simulate production per lean line or full shop floor, and produce data that can guide the manager's decisions. For example, line balance rate, transport distance, and so on. Through getting this data at the beginning of production line planning, we get better line balance, WIP setting, and resupply frequency. Thus, we can obtain faster product introduction, higher production efficiency, and higher quality. In this process, we also trained our staff to use advanced tools like FlexSim. So we can simulate and plan the better solution through digital tools to support our efficiency improvement. Finally, thanks to the FlexSim and SimWeb team for your help and guidance. Thank you.
Okay. So Thank you for your time. Here's our presentation. I'll open the floor for the Q&A.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Again, if you have any questions, please type those into the Q&A so we can get to those. Okay, Richard, I'm not sure if you could see these questions. We had one person ask, do you have experts in both Vietnam and China that use FlexSim to develop models?
Great questions. Okay, so here's a journey, right? So 2 years ago we started with FlexSim. I actually got a talent out of Taiwan, and they actually have a competition, and it was fresh out of college, and we hired them, and then coming here we do train people in China. We did a few experts. Leo and his team is one of them. Leo got experience in the shop floor, and his team May was a really technical guy, right? So we got a few people that build up. But at the same time, this is really challenging in terms of keeping those people, right? So the high tech people, semiconductor, they want them really badly. So we actually really take good care of them to make sure they stay with the company. At least I need a few. We have to work with vendor, so that's why we do. I would say the multi staffing, omni-channel staffing process to make sure I keep the talent in house, because we needed them, and we see this is the future. May not be really effective as we speak, but next 5 years, this is definitely, people already see the benefit out of this. The management in our company is already see that, because instead of using a lot of power moving stuff around, I'll be able to simulate it and be able to address as correctly and also quickly, right? So that's the part. Vietnam and Cambodia is a little different story. Most of currently in terms of these regions, we normally send people there. We have engineer who expected from Taiwan or China to those locations. Locally, I don't have any connection at this moment for this kind of tool. Indonesia, I do have, and as you know, the pandemic impact Vietnam and Cambodia has a huge impact middle of this year. So what I try to do is, first of all, I keep the talent in-house at the headquarters versus in the factories. Whatever they needed, I have routine training, how they build. I have people send it over there. I using AR, VR to remote, show them how to fix stuff, doing stuff, and then making sure that I have the talent in-house. So hopefully that's a long answer to a short question, but hopefully that answer the question that's raised.
How long did it take in implementing FlexSim end to end?
It depends on the scope. Really, is what for now, whatever the scope that we have, that we share with the brand and internally, it probably take about not more than probably 1 month, 2 months the most. And anything more difficult, I leverage vendors, right? So because and then that depends on the schedule. So last time the one that we did is roughly a 2-month project. Total up with the presentation for the results was 3 months, but I'm not looking for more than a quarter, because I do see the fraction. I want to address the problems, but it cannot take 1 or 2 years to do it. I want to do that the most quarterly, because more than that, the people in the traditional business don't understand it, and they will say I'm taking too long. It's not useful, right? So that's why I try to build that confidence, let them know the tools, address a few. Identify a few problems that I can address quickly. That's why I did for 2 years, and so far has been quite successful. Actually, even Adidas is putting this tool as a key of subject for next year for looking to all the T1 to come out with the plan. Okay, the second one is how detailed we build the simulation every move a person. The one that we build is based on the task. See how long this person was doing this particular job, and then let's say, for example, where the location of the building is, so in terms of the detail side of it is not I did that in a semiconductor before, so it's a little bit different. It's not as detailed as that, but I do know how many minutes this person is working on a particular stations, move to another one and do that simulation. So that part we have managed to at least doing that.
Then one more here. After a few projects, what do you think the average ROI is from using FlexSim?
Let me put it this way. So there's a few ROI for this. Started with the brains asking us to do it. Not using FlexSim, but we're using FlexSim as a tool, and we work through with the brain ideas a few tools, and FlexSim's come out actually is more. It's probably the high end of it, right? It's more expensive compared to other tool that they share that with us. But just simply using a few restructure of our shop floor, which we did a lot. We also work with the brand. For this, I think less than a season, which there's only 2 seasons for Adidas in the company. Probably less than 2 seasons we'll be able to get that return.
Excellent.
Because the benefit that we share.
I don't see any other questions though. So thank you very much, Richard and Leo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.